Well, I want to start with, out of those drills we just went over, how many of those apply?
Well, the kick. Well, not the hands down.
The lunge, the scale in, the scale
Yeah,
out.
all that applies. So how would you adapt
The push off your knee.
the a cartwheel station to teach an aerial?
Dive cartwheel.
Pushing off the mat, like panel mat to the floor, but making sure the arms are off.
An easy station would be a panel mat or two, and an 8-inch mat, and I just tell them to do a cartwheel. Put your foot at the end of the mat and do a cartwheel, but put your hands on the ground, and they always get over before their hands touch. And if I keep raising that, sooner or later I'll get a kid doing aerial by accident.
Yeah.
But if you say we're going to do aerials and you start throwing it around, they never get it. So more aerial stations and progressions.
Same thing into the pit. Wedge.
More specific. I think the most important thing when I'm teaching an aerial is I want to relate it to beam right off the bat, and I go onto that line, and it goes back all the way back to the falling off balance, the lunge, and the control with that front leg really becomes more important now, so that concept is handy to teach. And what I teach the kids is I want it to be a race between your hands and your feet. I want you to try and get your foot to the floor before your hands touch. And going off the mat is one way. Going into the pit, someplace where they're not afraid, but is shady. The easiest drill for teaching fairly talented kids, fairly strong, able to do the skill. Because if you start out with hurdles and running and kicking and going full out for it, a lot of times the kids will be watching each other, or they'll watch it online, and what they see is the head go down and the legs go up. And 9 times out of 10, they go and throw themselves down, right? Which is the opposite of what happens. Want to help me? Okay. Which way do you part? This leg in the front? Okay, stand over here. Here's what I want you to do. Get in a nice long lunge on the line. Right? And you're going to do a cartwheel. You're going to have, you kick really hard, okay? Again, kick harder. Back over here. Kick really hard. Now I won't let you crash. Don't worry. Kick really hard.
Okay.
Again. Start. Put the weight all the way on that leg. You have your arms down. So ready? Go again. Oh, what happened? Your legs apart, like a cartwheel. It's called the aerial cartwheel. So your legs stay apart. Just kick harder. Kick harder.
Kick the back leg. Okay.
What I'll do, stick around, okay? So what I do is that forces them to really concentrate on pushing off that front leg and kicking, and I'll place my hand at their shoulder so they can't go lower than a certain point, because when you see a kid do an aerial, sometimes their head gets close to the floor, and kids will throw their heads towards the floor because they think that's part of it. And really what it is it's all legs. If you had no arms, you could do an aerial.
Would you spot a bigger kid like that too?
Yeah, if I'm strong enough to hold their weight up, yeah, because
It's only a second.
I cheat.
Even in the first and second grade, I get some kids I can't. But
I cheat. I put my elbows against my body and support them with my legs. Most of the time, I'm never going to do this anymore. And if they're going halfway decent, I can support them enough that they can get a feel for it. And we do a lot of those until you see the change, right? And then when you let them do a hurdle into it, now they're using the legs right away, and you got the concept across, and it makes things go much smoother and much faster. All right, that's a drill I use, but I want to hear more because it's a lot of good information, and I want to steal a lot more.
Well, after the hurdles, do you want it before?
What was that?
Using a baby springboard, just for the more air time.
A regular springboard. I use a springboard and a panel mat over it and an 8-incher. And now I'll let the kids run and they jump off the panel mat. And I found that to be once I've gone over that drill just to teach the concept, how you're not bending over, that's when I'll start using the board and a lot of other stations, the jumping off the mats, the running, the hurdles. So do you understand how she said to use the springboard?
And I have these too, just like a panel mat, and then so they're not on the floor, I'll put a sting mat, and just once when they're closer to doing it, to also like shorten the run, because I have like some dancers and stuff, and they need to learn how to do it just to step hurdle.
I like to try it a lot higher, and off the wedge and then down.
I mean, going downhill?
No,
No, going
Running
onto
up the
onto the floor.
up the cheese mat.
Like putting a cheese mat the opposite way, and they're going at the top onto it. The same thing she's doing, but off of the end of the cheese. Not the,
You have to get a
They're
firmer
all
cheese
off
mat
of
though.
that.
Some of the
Yeah,
cheese
They're
mats
all
are.
off of height.
So you're
like that
going
one,
up
not
to
high.
the top of
Up
the
the
incline mat and then off?
and off.
So that just brings the floor up closer so you get more push off the front leg.
I actually spot them there. I spot everyone.
Alright, at this point I want to give you some input as to how I come up with a lot of stations and drills that I use. I just started thinking about it and getting ideas from different people, and I wrote down these ideas. And I come up with a lot of different things that help me teach and change drills that I already had. Right? You can name any drill and apply these things. Up, down, up onto a panel mat, down off a panel mat, over, under, left, right. You get the idea? Fast, slow.
It's like an SAT question.
Keep feeding some more. Add to it. Just think of different variations. In, out, up, down, left, right, around and through.
Positions.
Yeah, back, forward, forward, backward. That was mine. That was karate.
In, out.
Black, white.
Back and forward.
Yeah, no, it's for drills.
Oh, back and forward already there.
Actually, he was reading my mind.
No, Nicole, that's
That's probably more on back forward.
That's not. Nouns. What does that say?
Throw it out there, Reba.
Bend straight.
I like that one. It's good, ladies.
Point flex.
Who else is in there?
Flex.
Bend straight.
No, good thing. I think it's another one.
Yeah.
I guess there's some broken.
Come on, Reba. Here's the one time you're quiet.
Oh, open close.
Did I just say that? I said open close.
Open close.
I was like, Sandra said it. I heard it.
It's still mine. You said
Because you were shy. Didn't steal it. She capitalized.
Yeah, I capitalized on your shortcoming in the air.
You get the idea? So let's pick out a station and figure out how to apply these concepts to change it around and if it works or not. So pick out a station.
Good.
Cartwheel. Cartwheel. We'll round up onto a panel mat.
That's
Off
up,
the
that's
panel mat.
down.
Over.
It's over.
Through, meaning, like you said before, with those round mats in between.
Yeah, sure.
Left and right, good side, bad
Left
side,
side, right side.
Around. Like a.
fast and slow. I don't know if you can do a slow round off, but you can do slow cartwheels.
Then a fast car.
There you go, fast forward.
Try that. Ask your kids to do a slow motion cartwheel and watch. It's hard. I do martial arts, and I did it for a long time. I was very good at it, and then a friend of mine started doing Tai Chi,
So hard.
and I said, okay, I'll try. And it was so hard to move that slow.
So hard.
Slow, really
Really
slow.
slow.
Let's see. How slow can you do it, Sadie?
As slow as you can. Side and
Slow can you go?
Slow,
Scale.
slow.
Very good.
Good job for her.
It's all muscle control, slow.
Really slow.
Like you're underwater or in space.
Slower, slower.
You see what she just figured out on that last one?
With the kick
Slow,
back.
slow,
Push
slow.
off the front leg. She just figured that out. She didn't have any push up on the one before, and then she corrected it on the very next one.
Right, so she just blessed it.
Very good. Shady.
I do slow fast a lot.
She went from bent to straight. Where was that?
The leg you push off of, then.
Right, bent to straight. That's what I just.
Open, close.
Round off.
Far and near.
I can end it for you right now.
Reach in.
Stop, you know, making them go over an obstacle, place their hands down.
But that's over too.
Over and far, right? Or near. Their hands on it. And every time you change it, you get a little bit of a different reaction and feedback. You know, some kids, and you make some of these things up and you put the station down and the light bulbs go off for some kids.
Yeah.
I may not teach them the skill, but something clicks, and now they go back and they understand how to do it better.
It's also fun. It's also fun.
It is fun.
Also
And
fun.
I think it's
Variety, yeah.
a challenge to come up with one station and try and figure out how to change it around and what's useful and what isn't. Any more to add to the list?
Come on, Rita. Come on, use that voice.
I'm using my insight.
Short jump, long jump, short jump, long
Yeah, Brent, really?
What Rita is this?
I'll say it though. Oh, long, short.
Oh, that's it, right.
It's like,
For us. Everybody's in the off boat.
I said that.
yeah, they turned off
Before.
for the weekend.
Singapore. And it's not on there. Nobody heard me say
Open,
it.
close.
They leave it at school.
She said, so right now, are we asking for anything?
I love.
Long and short.
Big, little.
Go, Amy.
Big, little.
I was saying it too before.
You know what this is? This is every time you teach a kid something and you told them 100 times to go this way, do it, do it, do it, and someone else walks over and says, "Oh, if you just reach a little longer, you can," and then the kid does it, and you're like,
So and so taught me how to do this.
"Yeah."
Oh, you hate when kids learn, huh, Jim?
No, Jim's
Hate
the one
when
that
kids
does
learn.
it to you.
He thinks he got it, but he's.
Who taught that round up back handspring, Jim?
It's straight and bent on there.
But that happens in camp too. They'll be in here learning drills for the shankles and stuff like that, and go to camps around their peers about the same age and they got it. And they
Oh, I
come
thought
out
you meant
and
our
say,
summer
I'm
camp.
sorry,
I'm like,
I
who's
never
learning
thought
Chankos in summer
I was
camp?
so confused. I was like, that is not in the curriculum.
It's not on my banner. One of them.
Really?
Their mom didn't teach them that cartwheel. I taught them that cartwheel.
I
They're like,
did-
look
I
at my
did
mom
that
taught me. I'm like, okay.
Still working with me on this.
As long as they
Come
learn
on,
it,
just
man.
stop it.
My favorite is my
Just
mom
the
is
day
spotting
they
me on
got
my
it.
campus.
Yes, or when they tell you, we pulled out the couch cushions. Oh gosh.
Nothing good can come of it.
Hey, it's their parents. They get hurt, no big deal.
I also clean the house.
Anything else?
Goes, Daddy, thanks for cleaning. Like, Sorry.
I'm really bad at this game. I haven't come up with a single one.
Well, mine was
I would have just 10 inches more, and I would have gotten this. Oh, is that already?
Yeah, it's like we have big, small.
You show us a sad
This is why I did terrible on the SATs.
Preaching now.
Happy sad.
I used to have a book that I kept when I was teaching classes, and the first page of the book was this. And whenever I was stuck on something, or I wanted something new, I'd look at this, look at what I was doing, and every time I would come up with something different, just so that it wasn't as boring. Because I tried to change everything we did at least once or twice a month. You know, change the skills, do skills that they're not even ready for if you're a spotter. I mean, I would take preteen kids and throw them through double backs because it's exciting, but also it was a way to measure who thought it was exciting and who thought it was,
terrifying.
you know, yeah. But it was a way of generating excitement.
It also creates a pattern in their body. So like jiu-jitsu, you take little kids, you do it for them. Their body doesn't know how to do it yet. So So you do it for them, and now their body knows how to do it because it went through it.
I also do it for psychological reasons. Ready? When they think this is hard, put them through something harder, all of a sudden that thing they thought was hard isn't as
I
hard.
like that.
Absolutely. Great, Helena.
So we make all the kids do
Videos
it.
like yesterday.
Then go back to a
The
class.
whole thing.
Gotcha.
What about push and pull?
Good one, Sandra.
Nice, Sandra. Yes.
Wait, I missed it. What is it?
Push and pull.
20-point block. 20-point. Oh, we're still on that.
Very
We went back
karate.
to it.
Blocking and absorbing. You know, pulling off and pushing off.
Like, or rebound on the stick.
Yeah, that's a good one. Good work, Ashley. It was a really good try.
I like that.
You did great.
Look at you. You're so
Even block and
enthusiastic,
pull.
Nicole.
You ever have kids that pick their arms off and push them off? Like on a car or block? And they're not blocking, they're pulling. No.
A lot of you stand up before.
Walk and run.
You
made the board. We're very competitive in Farland.
What's that? Walk and run. Push and pull.
I'm gonna dye my hair today. Sorry.
What about rebound and jump?
Doesn't ask you.
That's the
doesn't
same
ask you
thing.
before you
But
dye
you're
your
not
hair.
like jumping, because rebound's more of a.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
How about stop and go?
Actually, let it
They're
go.
not opposites, but they're different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is early too.
conceptually they are.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it when I say that.
How would you say?
No. Really?
They don't understand that concept.
I think it's on there. That's what sex days look like.
Oh, they don't have to.
Voice it, yeah.
Yeah.
Not what we're looking for. You know what's cool though? I forget what her name is. But she
What
has,
about
like, red
stop
hair
and go?
in front. She's got fashion lady. You're talking about her for like fashion police.
Here you go, Kristen. You got it.
She was on what not to wear, I think.
Show them how it's
She has
done.
dark black hair, but like a gray streak right here. That looks cool.
Keep it stiff.
Yo, boys are not.
How about right and left?
That's
Oh, you
it.
have it. Okay.
In and out.
You're right. It's you. Go dye your hair red.
Trying to figure out the word. Tomorrow. Be a redhead.
Hey, I have an
Upside down,
appointment on
right side
Thursday. You
up.
can come with me.
Yes.
I'm going to be
On the floor.
my people.
It's in the morning. We have time.
Because of what you said.
What did he
Wait, what did we put on?
Upside down and right side up.
Oh, nice.
Upside right.
Ooh, how about mean and nice?
Oh wow.
What about the
Yeah.
You really do.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's dark enough. Flipping.
Really. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like the Asian-y type girl.
Like an olive.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Spinning.
Spinning or flipping?
Is there a bone? Is there
Spinning
like
and
a
twisting is the
computer
same.
program like an app like that?
Spinning with this way.
Because you know, some sensory.
Like I feel like a twist involves a flip, and a spin involves like a jump. Like this would be opposite end.
Yes,
So
yes,
like
yes.
a back forward twist. I think.
That's we live that way now. Yeah, it's true.
Transverse.
Very good.
So you put the land and the takeoff, right? You have that.
Pretty sure.
We talked about it.
mounting, dismount.
Oh yeah, mountain sound.
Yeah, Sandra.
You're in the lead now. Just stretched ahead of all of us.
What you did?
I want that
Mountain dismount.
How could we forget that?
We have it all.
Zach and Dalton at their goodie
Begin
bags.
and end, okay.
I was like, where's your good bags?
That's the same
I
one.
don't know. This is,
They're just for
Sorry.
because there was
A
like,
lot of them could be there.
if you never brought them in the house,
Yeah,
they're
but
definitely not
different things
here.
are gonna trigger different.
Exactly. And one
Stop and
person's
go.
gonna get it with one word
And
and somebody
start and
else
stop
gonna
the
get it
same.
Yeah.
Those are all actions. Nothing is personality.
Oh, I said that.
It didn't make the
But it
board.
didn't make the board.
Point and flex.
flex make the board?
Point and flex.
Oh.
Yeah.
Someone said the same as Ben Stream. You did say.
Yeah, you said that already.
Yeah, but it didn't make the board.
Now it's so she had to keep repeating it until it made the board.
Hey, sometimes promotion is the key.
This has become like our egos now. We're trying to win.
How about tuck and
Yeah, tuck and straddle, or tuck and pike, or straddle
Tuck pike.
Tuck pike. What about flat versus releve?
Round. Oh.
Or is that like point?
It could be like up down.
Yeah, flat on top.
Yeah.
All right, enough with this.
done.
But we have nothing.
be
We
the
have
best.
nothing that goes round.
We have spinning.
We'll start getting crazy in here, people. Medial, lateral,
I
what?
said
Oh,
touch
okay.
me, but it didn't make
Y-axis, X-axis.
Yeah, I said that. For the flipping versus
Yeah,
twisting,
yeah.
it's different.
Yeah, you flip on different.
Did they do straight and bent already?
Yep.
Oh well.
Good try, Jim.
So if you look at a lot of the stations that you already use, and you go look at a list like this, and look at it, and just kind of squint your eyes, you can come up with a thing that teaches the same thing you've been teaching all along, or maybe teaches it better, but at the very least breaks the monotony.
What about for the karate, punch and kick?
Sure.
We kind of do this in
Block kick.
school, in our school cartwheel clinics.
You guys punch with your feet in gymnastics. I don't know what's wrong with you.
With the same, with blocks,
We got it all wrong, though.
with
Right, it's
handle
all
bends,
backward.
we're teaching the same thing, but in so many different varieties that they're not bored
And
when
this
they
is
move.
just a way of how to look at drills and change them around and make them more useful, better, more
You can say to
exciting,
the kids,
fun.
which one you want to do today?
They don't even realize they've been doing a cartwheel.
Well, you know, preschoolers, they do themes every day, right? Up, down.
Right.
There's only 1/8 incher between.
All right,
I did that.
back to the
No,
area.
I'm just
back to the aerial.
I'd love to do all these.
Okay, in and out.
What I need.
The side aerial.
Right.
What?
What's the
Don't step
most
hard either,
difficult
Sadie.
part of that
Place your
skill
foot.
to teach?
Don't step down. Please.
What? Well, I
Here's the point I make,
I
because I've
think the
seen it
lip.
done.
The
A
lip.
person with no arms do an aerial.
The lip.
And I've done aerials with my arms.
I have a TNT.
But
Russian lift, or do you teach
no
underarm
arms.
lift?
You do without arms.
Okay.
So it's even more basic than that.
Then it's going to be the kick.
That would be the kick.
It's a no-handed cartwheel, so the last thing you want to do is use your arms.
Right.
Tie their arms to
Or
their
at least focus their minds on the arms.
I don't know if
Or
they want
legs.
actually.
So it's pushing off the legs.
So
Maybe
whatever drills you come up
said
with
tie their
have to
arms.
be focused on the legs, how to use the legs,
Maybe
how
not
to
tie their
bend.
And then to land it on one foot. That's a spotting the floor.
Well, it's mostly
Getting over the
A
fear.
lot of you guys can do aerials or have done them, right? What was the hardest part of the aerial?
We do that stuff in karate.
Being not afraid to fall on your head.
Yeah, not trusting that you weren't going to land on your head.
Lifting my chest at the end. It's still a problem.
No, for me was how to get my foot down at that
That's what I'm
last
saying.
part.
Spotting the
Yeah.
floor.
The very last turn.
That was my hardest part.
Someone said turn your legs, and I did it, but I couldn't get that for the longest time.
Turn your,
wouldn't
what do you
let-
mean turn your legs?
Oh, because
Well,
it's
when
still
you
like
do
a
a cartwheel, your
cartwheel.
legs
Right.
is this. And this is an aerial cartwheel, but a lot of people do the aerial and their legs don't do that.
Right, and they land sideways.
And they land
I'm
sideways.
doing it. Hold on.
You're
Oh.
gonna
I'm gonna do an aerial? No, in my brain. Oh.
Yep, go do
No,
that.
come on, Amy.
I was gonna say I want to try one too.
What I was
Let's
saying
go.
before about
Come on, girls.
cartwheels,
Aerials.
The first part of the cartwheel, the quarter turn starts when you place your second hand. And the second part is when you rotate your legs and step down. That's the second turn.
Right.
The turn starts with the legs and the hips. And the aerial, that's a really important part.
I never thought about that part when I was upset.
Unless you're
I
doing
thought
the
about it
side,
because I got stuck on it.
unless you're doing the side something, boys will learn.
You gonna do it?
Right. And that's an important part of
You're gonna do
teaching
cartwheel?
Sami is knowing
Not to turn.
You almost. Wow.
Did you just do an aerial?
Almost. No, she really almost did. You just popped your hands out at the last second. You were over.
No, but when I lay
Now,
out
now
hold,
I'm
it
feeling
hurts.
challenged.
Right.
Now we have to turn around to look.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying, like,
I think I understand now. Okay.
hip turn.
Yeah,
the wider the split, the more you'll feel it.
you really only push. You only push with your hands, like at the last second,
I can't.
just so your head doesn't slam into the.
Are we on an aerial?
Throw my
Come on, girls. Who else?
because I hadn't used that
Get into the hard stuff. We'll do more.
I can't do cartwheels. I
We're talking about
wanna work on it.
aerials or side semis?
I want to.
Okay.
Aerials.
I'm not just that comfortable.
I really want to do it.
I really want to know well.
I might be a little heavy.
I wasn't gonna stop you.
No, I know. No, I don't mean for that. I mean for me actually doing it.
We'll get it.
Because my shoulders are a little bit, like, not bad, but they're a little messed
The
up.
best drill for an aerial was I
cartwheel?
had a kung fu student who I was teaching gymnastics to, 6-year-old world champion. Trying to teach him an aerial and a butterfly. And he was doing actually pretty good because he wasn't a gymnast. And I went to talk to his mom or something. He set up some mats, and what he did is he put down mats, 2 soft mats, and he put his head on top. So he didn't put his hands down, and he did an aerial off his head. And I'm watching.
Well, boys
and I'm
do like the
thinking, I
head
hope he doesn't
spring,
break
so
his neck.
Yeah.
And he's going harder and harder, and then he just moved to the side and did it. Like, shit. All the stations I had set up, he just figured that out. He just put his head down because that's what he was afraid of. And as soon as he did that, he didn't use his arms anymore, and his legs just went over. I've never used that in the past, but I was always tempted.
It's funny that actually it only worked on kids. Just be careful because it works on them up to a certain age.
Well, he put 2 soft mats. I was unafraid.
But he was just one of those crazy boys, too.
Well, if you watch,
He was a world champ. He was at this point he was a 2-time world kung fu champion.
Because they're aware.
yes,
Acted in movies and a television show and did commercials.
if you watch the Shaolin monks though, the little monks, the young
head
ones,
springs,
they
yeah.
do like backflips on their head,
Head
feet,
springs
head, feet, yeah,
to
head
the
spring,
squat.
head, feet, boom, 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 boom,
Oh,
boom.
just that, what you're saying.
On cement.
But little kids, after a certain age, they can't do it anymore. Like they have an age limit to them. Like after a certain age, they stop doing that. They can't do it anymore.
What do they look like when they're older? They all
So that was
No,
something
they
that-
look like
that-
beasts still.
That's real, by the way.
Gymnastics, they used to have a front head
Well,
spring as
actually,
part of their-
in
I teach
Shaolin
front
Kung
head
Fu,
springs.
there's a huge
They
gymnastics
had that as
component
part
that they
of
learn. I
their-
forget the name of it. It's really just gymnastics. So that's what they start training with them when they're very little, and then they incorporate the martial kung fu as they go along. But they start with really gymnastics training when they're very little. So if you watch, there's the little ones. They just do all these flips, like head springs, if you say that.
Starts to fall, we do it back
Yeah,
Oh, I used to
that's
do
how we
that.
had to do it.
And that
But we had to do bounder into it. We're jumping into
that
it.
So do they
found
jump like a pipe?
became the hardest part of the area of the front handspring to teach because no one wanted
Right.
to risk the lower back.
right.
Do it again.
Yeah, I think
Go a little bit harder.
I don't know why I
Try and
don't
get your head
anymore.
off the floor before your feet. And go.
Too bad Black
Oh
don't
yeah,
do
push
it.
to the
That's
back.
part of
Push
the-
back. We're not gonna get up. Do it again. But I want you to stop in the back. Okay. I'm not doing it. Okay. One more.
But we jumped into it.
And then they can limber up. And they
Hands
push
up.
hips forward to get up.
hands up.
Thanks, honey. And it goes back to the idea about having the hips over your feet.
That's right.
On the end of that head spring, they learn how to get their feet under them. Because when you teach front handsprings, they try and push and then try to sit up and bring their head forward, which pushes the butt back. This drill, I spend a lot of time on that drill and then go back to an 8-inch mat or something, and now they can do it because they understand the end of it. They all can do the beginning, but no one ever does the end of it. That just reminded me.
You can I use a strap, forces them to keep their hands here, strap arms up. Because how many of you have the kids that are like
Yeah.
out here? And then if they get really good, like with my 7s and 8s, I'll go down and choose that head spring front tuck. And then there, front hamstring front tuck right there.
I started doing it yesterday. But good.
Now, another concept that this all applies to, and it's a good concept to get across to kids, is when you're doing more than one skill, doing 2 skills together, it's important that kids understand that the end of the first skill has to be the beginning position of the next skill. And if you get that point across, and they know that beginning and end positions, it's much easier to teach combinations, rather than just say do round off back handspring. They do the round off in the start position of the back handspring. Once they do that, it ends up being a concept that carries across to all the different skills and levels.
Like front handspring front. Rebound.
Right, pick off for front, it's up and down, and it doesn't matter what the skill is. You follow that idea on bars, beam, it doesn't matter. All right, the second topic I wanted to touch on is communicating or talking with parents, which a lot of people don't enjoy.
Tone, do you want to sit on the mat?
Personally,
Do you
I
want
love
to sit
it.
on the floor?
What was that?
I kind of like it.
I don't mind it.
Well, when I had my gym, I made a point that starting a thing where everybody had to follow their students into the lobby after every class. And you have to say something to every parent that is there. Doesn't matter what it is, it has to be positive, has to be true. And within no time, everybody kind of got into it because they found out these people are really nice. And the parents were happy to the point where they had no questions anymore. Right? You go out, you say, your daughter was really good today, she did. Whatever. doesn't matter what it is. She listened better. She did a front handspring. She kept her legs straight. Whatever it is, that's all a parent wants to hear. Because if you go to the lobby and you watch when kids come out of class and you listen, every single mom in that lobby goes, was it fun? Did you have fun? Or did you learn anything? So really your job is to make sure at the end of that class that when they go out to that lobby, the answer to that fun question is yes, right? So the younger people that I work with were kind of afraid of talking to parents because they felt like they didn't know enough about the sport to be telling older adults about gymnastics. But if you go from the perspective of you're talking to a parent about the thing that they love the most, that they love to talk about the most in most cases, their child. They'll talk for days about their kid. Right? And if you're going to go out and tell them how good their child did, that's exactly what they want to hear. And you'd be surprised how far that will go in terms of goodwill and keeping kids in the class. And it's really very simple. It's not difficult. You can talk about what the kid did or did not do. You can talk about their behavior, their improvement. You can talk about anything. Because after a few weeks of getting feedback on what the kid did, I find myself teaching parents about gymnastics. I'll make a comment and realize that the parent doesn't realize how good gymnastics is for their kids. They're coming because their neighbors come. But when you tell a parent, well, all the things we do in gymnastics help them learn other sports. That gymnastics was created as far back as ancient Greece as a way of training all the athletes. And eventually it evolved into its own sport. So gymnastics trains kids to be athletic. And parents go, wow, I didn't know that. I've had parents bring 2 more kids in. I've had boys come in with their parents who say he's not very coordinated, you know, he's weak, he's this and that. And after a couple of years, that same kid has a gym teacher telling the parent that he's a natural athlete.
War training.
I mean, these types of short little stories, right, anecdotes, go a long way in, number one, recruiting parents to be your fan, a fan of yours, a fan of the gym, and a fan of gymnastics. So you want to go out to the lobby, you want to educate parents, you want to inform them, mostly about their kid, but inform them of whatever's happening with your class or special events. And you just want...
I'm sorry. I know everyone sometimes gets this rushed feeling in between, like we don't have time. But can I just say that when you walk through the lobby, like we have a lot, sometimes we have like 16 kids in a class and we split them. If you walk past a child and connect with that child and say, great job today, that goes a long way with their parent when they see that relationship between their child and you. And it takes a half a second as you're going through. That's all.
But I found, because I was the owner of the gym, I found that parents wanted to talk to the owner, but when the other teachers started doing it, they didn't care to talk to me at all. They wanted to hear about their kids. They wanted to talk to their kid's teacher. And when we started doing that, it became pretty common. You know, it's not a big deal. Now we did it every day. And we ended up liking all these people. We knew them. We didn't know them close, but we had pleasant conversations, and they always knew what was happening in the gym with their kid. They knew more about gymnastics, and a lot of the parents became recruiters for gymnastics. They would tell their friends how good gymnastics is for their kids, and they talk to their friends and they bring their kids into gymnastics. Even if it didn't come to our gym, they went into gym in another state. So I want to look at does anyone do that now? Does anyone go out and make a point of talking to parents, or have you had positive or negative
Do it
experiences
naturally.
dealing with parents?
I even think it's like a thing.
You're always
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like, because usually when we drop them off, well, I guess we've been doing it over here recently, but when we go back over there, you know, we'll just walk this way back to the staff room, and usually if 1 or 2 parents will stop you, or you can just like Amy said, you can just wave by.
Great job today. You guys worked so hard.
Yeah.
Just a little something.
In addition to making sure they have their grown-ups with them,
Yeah,
when you
sometimes
see them
you
as they
wanna
get
make
with their
sure they get
grown-ups,
picked up.
you know, you talk, when they want to make that connection with the parent, oh, okay, the parent's here, oh, great job.
Even when you're saying,
The hardest days on
Find
Saturday.
something positive that's on.
It's really crazy.
It's the classes are running back. If you have a 9 o'clock class, you have a class at 10 o'clock.
No, so there's no time in between.
So there's no time. You have to just dump them off and then just run right into the next class.
See, I ended up putting a 10-minute gap between classes just for this.
Yeah.
Because it made such a big difference. The 1 year we started, so many more kids stayed into the spring that I went with it. And we just put 10 minutes at the end of every class, 20 minutes at the end of the 5 o'clock class. And after a while, you know, parents were just happy to say hi and bye, but every time you went to the lobby, they knew they could approach you and ask you a question. And a lot of parents don't feel like you're approachable, not because of you, but they don't want to take, you know, and make an assumption. So knowing that the teacher's out there and he's always available, she's always available to answer your questions goes a very long way in keeping your kids in your class and getting more kids in your class. So anyone have any horror stories with dealing with parents or anything that you like to avoid dealing with parents?
Yeah, right.
And when, with all great heart intentions to say, you know, your daughter did great, you know, we need to work on, really working on being tight. So, not way much more than gymnastics. And mother took it to a whole different extreme. And somehow, talking about cool was a body issue that I was saying her daughter was fat, but it was way.
That's a good point because
Way.
it goes back to the idea that keeping it really simple. You want to go out and it's very simple. You just, so-and-so did whatever they did today in class, or they're stronger, or they're listening better, or whatever, and you move on to the next parent. And if a parent has a question, then they'll ask you. But don't give away too much information because they'll engage you and then want to stand there and talk to you. So you'll set a precedent by how quickly you flutter through the lobby and say hi to people. But it may be more difficult since there's no time between classes. Is that like during the week? Is there time between any classes?
Yeah. No, it goes, what is it? 10, 5, 5?
Yeah, but by the time you
So
get
the last one's
Not
5.
everybody has
Yeah,
10,
then
but
5
mainly
minutes.
10.
Yeah, and on a Wednesday you don't have.
Sometimes mine
Sometimes it's 5.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's 5. Yeah, I have classes that finish and start.
We have some parents in here.
And
As
you're
a
glad.
parent, what would you want to hear?
And you're glad that
About
they
your
finished and
kid.
stuff. They don't overlap.
I have little kids. I want to hear that they behaved, and I want to hear that they
Better
did
than
what they were
overlapping,
supposed
right?
to do. Besides that, I don't care.
That they're not
That's it.
physically, you know, hitting anybody or
But yeah,
Yeah, but you know what? It's all the same.
doesn't matter.
But
We all have the same concerns.
Because there's a couple of kids that they come in and just beat on kids and laugh and just beat on
Don't
kids.
talk about my son like that.
But your kids are not like that.
Yeah, no, they're not. Because I beat them
not
enough.
anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
The problem would be a special case. So if you had a problem with a specific kid, that wouldn't be included in your interaction in the lobby. That would be a special meeting that you would inform them of. When you saw them in the lobby, you say, I'd like to meet with you.
Did he do any of it today? I'm like, he did, but I need to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That parent's always coming up right away. How is he? You can see his kids punching everybody.
I think there are certain cases where if you really do need to speak to a parent, you can always maybe ask the teacher to pick up your class in case you run over. And make sure you don't talk to that specific person in front of everybody. Take them aside, go in the room, go anywhere.
You're just going out to make some positive comments and
Yeah, in case it
observations,
gets to that
making
point.
yourself available to ask questions, and basically making it a positive
Right.
atmosphere so that they feel like you're accessible, they can get all the information they need, and they feel comfortable with their kids being here and being with you as their teacher.
So you make a mistake, but the first time you tell them, oh yeah, your kid was doing really good today. It's just been bad ever since. You know what you say?
Don't jinx it.
All right, so we used to all, I had some people that were just schmoozers. They were really good persons. And they had a selling personality. And I had these people, I would unleash them in the lobby because they would talk parents into bringing groups of mothers in with their kids to sign up. And, you know, I don't have that gift of gab, but that's the kind of opportunities that exist in the lobby. You can recruit a parent to appreciate so much more about gymnastics, and then in turn so much more about the gym and about yourself and about what it does for their kid, that they become knowledgeable relative to their friends, and they start telling their friends how much more they know about gymnastics, and it really does spread. I mean, back in the 70s, gymnastics was really big for a long time, and it kind of slowed down, the growth slowed down a little bit, and then it would explode after every Olympics. But I always felt like if you educated parents sufficiently, almost all parents would have their kids in gymnastics if they knew what it did for them. Right, and that's the kind of message I try to get my staff to pass on to parents. That sport it's not just fun, it's the best foundation for movement and athletic skills and fitness that you can give a kid. Now the other stories that I share with parents is how many kids I've had come in and do 3, 4, 5 years of gymnastics and take up diving in high school and become a state champion. And then come back and the kid will say it was my gymnastics. There's lots of examples that you know that you can share with parents that makes them think, I should keep them in here for at least a couple more years, or I should maybe have them come in twice a week, right? Or do a trampoline class or a tumbling class in addition to it.
In parent and talk classes, I make a point, like, we make, do bars, I'm like, well, this is for playground readiness, so when you take your kid to that part,
They like that.
be very confident in what they're doing. And I make sure, and, those parents have older, kids, or younger ones coming up along the line. I feel like if you really talk about how gymnastics is brought to real life in parent and taught, you could create. That's why we have such a big preschool program, because we got all those parent and taught in there, and then just feed these.
You create culture.
Yes.
I've had
convince these parents how important it is. What it can do for you, not just becoming
I've had parents come in and tell me that my kid was at the playground doing whatever on the bar, skinny cat or whatever, and then stopping the other kids and saying, no, you can't do that, you have to step back, or you have to stick like this. And mom was really impressed that she remembered all these different things about safety. She came back, she was like, I was so impressed by that my kid is now safety oriented at 5 years old.
That's right.
Because we know the rules so well.
That's right.
Right.
Monkey bars is like the main thing that kids bring their hearts to. You don't experience it in a safe environment. Obviously,
First, okay.
so it teaches like just simple playground readiness and keeps parents really good out. I'm a parent, I do that.
This exercise we just did, there are so many more reasons for parents to have their kids in gymnastics than there are those examples we just did there. I just had a thought when you brought that up.
I did say that. Wife's ready.
Have to do with preschool.
More training.
I have an article on 20 reasons why people are
Technique, right? It's technique.
Yeah, but it's muscle memory. It's like 28 years old and it's still like...
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have it. I have me gymnastics.
I'm telling you, if I don't do gymnastics, I would have broken something when I fell off the cloud.
Probably.
Because I just thought, like,
know how to fall.
I've
Yeah.
had kids save their lives for around because we teach them how to break fall.
Yeah.
Kid
Like,
fell
I'm
off the
home,
horse.
I was
One reason
flying
every week,
like this.
just one
And like, out
reason.
of nowhere, just...
I had a girl fall
stretch
off the
that
horse
whole
one time.
thing there. One of
I didn't know how
20,
to
2
fall
of
right.
20,
I was
3.
crapping my head
Yeah.
away. She was going down head first and then just bam, slapped
I
it out.
taught my class
Saved her head.
what's called the
What I
shoulder
said
roll in
there,
martial arts,
put it on the color.
and how to fall properly. And I've had more than a few parents come back and say, she fell off her bike and I watched her roll and get to her feet like an acrobat.
That's what we were just talking about.
Because I don't know how that happened.
Because I crashed a quad this weekend and I was flying through the air and then out of nowhere I like flipped and I was like, oh my god. Oh my god.
I went over the hood of a car for my motorcycle, and I just ducked to one side, ended up rolling off my back and up to my feet, but I took all the skin off my back and my butt, but I didn't break anything.
And you don't even realize you're doing it. It's just like natural.
But yeah, I thought of nothing else. Most people who don't get exposed to gymnastics break their arms because they go wrong.
How many broken arms do we have this year?
Yes.
When the kids went back to school.
There are so many examples like that of positive reasons to be involved in the sport, even at the recreational level, especially at the recreational level, because you don't have to commit to big, long training schedules, and you come away with so much. So you want to keep in touch with that. Whenever you talk to parents, always have those ideas in your head of what you want to say that makes them want to do gymnastics with their kids, makes their kids want to stay in the gym, makes them want to have their friends bring their kids in. I forget how long ago it was, but we were doing a marketing study with my partner. And I think at the time the percentage of kids we had in gymnastics as an industry was like 1.5% back in the 70s. And someone pointed out that if you just made it 3%, which is not a big number, you would double your income. You know, because 3% is not a big number. There's a lot of kids out there who don't do gymnastics. Part of the reason is they don't know about it. They don't appreciate it. Gymnastics is foreign to them. It's intimidating to most people, right? And a lot of young instructors would go to the lobby intimidated by parents, not realizing parents are probably more intimidated of you and your gymnastics knowledge and the fact that they don't know anything.
A wild animal. And you're afraid of you.
One woman on Saturday morning who was interested. Abby's mom? No, the one with
So
the
let's,
pacifier.
I want to go over a similar list of the kind of things you would bring up to speak to parents in the lobby. I want to erase the lot.
Photos. The new age, man.
Have it on video.
Ouch.
I think I have arthritis, guys. Oh, everything hurts.
Not me.
Wait, before you race.
Wait. How did we want
You can walk up to it, Jim.